Welcome to the Cajun Turnbuckle Podcast.
Good morning, everyone. It's WrestleMania weekend, and welcome to another live edition of the Cajun Turnbuckle Podcast. I'm Marcus, he's Rich. We're your hosts, and we're still not hyped for WrestleMania. But first off, good morning, Rich. How you doing?
Morning. Yeah, doing good. If you happen to hear, I think I said this last week too. If you happen to hear some claps of thunder in the background, I apologize, but we've got some thunderstorms that are rolling through the area. So, just in case you hear that in the background, I can't do anything about it.
If basically y'all become the new Seattle, Washington of the South, y'all got rain storms week after week after week.
Well, the crazy part is it's just been like sporadic. We'll have them today. They say we're supposed to have them until like noon or 1 o'clock, and then it's supposed to be fine until like Tuesday, and then we're going to get some more rain on Tuesday, and then it's going to be fine until Friday next week, and then it's going to rain. Here, if you don't like, literally, the line is, if you don't like the weather in Texas, wait 10 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty true.
We're not going to get rain again down here until a week from today. I just checked 50%. But on the forecast, we are getting a 2-night WrestleMania with a combined 8.5 hours separate for both nights, including a 3-hour kickoff, a nearly 4-hour main card show with the first hours being on ESPN or ESPN2, and a 2-hour post show. So I know we've been preaching this has not been the most hype. It's been one of the worst build-ups for Mania. This might be the first, not the first, but I don't really give a shit about WrestleMania this year. I am not that hyped for it. You just tell me how you feel with how things build up. What's your hype level like on a grade scale or a number scale? Just let it all out. How you feel about this weekend?
They've put more publicity into this thing than ever. With all the stuff on ESPN, of course, with ESPN, having the streaming abilities and all that kind of stuff. They've put so much on ESPN. I mean, they were on First Take, they've been on Sports Center, they've been all these different shows and all that kind of thing. But the build up, and I wish that, I don't know if you saw it or not, but Bully Ray said it best, and he just went on an absolute tirade. The whole thing with McAfee is stupid, ridiculous. He doesn't need to be there. You have a match that could very easily could steal the show with those two guys. Why do you have to include McAfee and Jelly Roll and all that stuff into this thing? Why? Let those two guys do what they do and move on. Do crazy stuff with Finn and Dom or whatever. There are a few matches I'm excited for. But out of 13 matches, I'm excited for 3 or 4. I don't know about you. You there? Did you freeze up? Hey.
I think I spoke my words too soon. Damn.
Froze
now
up.
I started getting bad here.
Oh, wow.
Till I get my computer back on, I'm going to be right here for now, but it's all good.
Okay, did you hear anything of what I said?
You were talking about how it was stupid with McAfee, and you were talking about Sports Center and all that other stuff.
Right, yeah. And I mean, there's only 3 or 4 matches that I'm excited about. The rest of them are going to be eh. What do you think?
To be honest with you, like I said, they've only been building up 2 matches or 3 for the entire 2-night show, like the 2 title matches, world title matches, and of course Brock and Oba. But I guess they're that desperate to get seats in that they're going above and beyond with ESPN and being on First Take and whatnot, and having like Danhausen show up to curse Stephen A. and his New York Knicks, or having Roman Reigns get on First Take, or even Michael Cole getting interviewed. So like
Right.
they're pushing the buttons that they can't, how to say it, get to where they need to be, because last I checked, they only had 40,000 seats sold at a 60,000 seated venue.
Yeah, it's really wild. I mean, there's and you and I have talked about this not only on this show, but we've talked about it on open mic and things of that nature. This show was supposed to be in New Orleans,
Yeah.
and it got taken away from y'all like 2 or 3 weeks after it was announced because Vegas ponied up more money. Um, so WWE doesn't care because they've got their money. Um, but yeah, I mean, when you're looking at a 30% drop off in attendance from last year to this year, and next year being in question, then what?
Well, so that's another thing I was going to bring up. Like, we've got with everything going on, I've been waiting to say this for a while, but the fact that they took it away from us when you went and announced it on national TV that WrestleMania 42 is coming. It was supposed to happen a week ago on the 11th and 12th, but then they relocated to Vegas and pushed it a week later.
Mm-hmm.
I said it on open mic to be sarcastic, but I have a perfect excuse why too. But I said I was boycotting night one because they took it away from us. But quote unquote in reality, I've been DJing for 21 years. I got a gig I got 2 gigs tonight back to back. So
Right.
it's gonna be in the middle of WrestleMania night one. So I won't get home till after 4 a.m. But my plan is when I wake up Sunday, hopefully I'll be up by 11 a.m. or before noon where I can at least just go back and watch night one without the damn kickoff and post shows because I don't care for those. But at least watch it enough where by the time I get off, I'm ready to go and watch everything for WrestleMania Sunday or night two.
Yeah, I mean, I apologize. The weather is doing crazy things to crazy people around here. I apologize. Um, the first night I'm okay with, and I'll probably watch a good chunk of it. Um, night two is the one that I'm just going to kind of be like, eh, because the only two matches that I'm really interested in are the first one and the last one. Obafemi, Brock Lesnar, and CM Punk, Roman Reigns. The rest of them, I'm like, eh. I mean, yeah, Finn Balor's bringing back the demon character and that, but he's wrestling Dom. If it was Finn and Ray, now we got something to work with. But I'm just not excited about anything in between. I'm more excited about what's going to go on tonight than I am tomorrow night, except for the first and last match. So
Uh,
I'll be reverse of you. I'll be paying more attention to night one.
well, I'm gonna stay off social media too, just like, but I'm so obsessed with technology these days I can't get off my phone. But at least I'll be more occupied to stay off my phone to not get on X. But there ain't really nothing to spoil. I can cough, and then I'm gonna get a notification about something happened.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's one of the drawbacks to social media, but the other part of it too is, there's just been so much going on. Oh, he's back in normal status. Um, but there's just been so much built around these two main matches with CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and then Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. God forbid, God forbid something happens that these matches don't live up. Because if those two don't live up, I don't know what there is on the show that could make up for it. I don't see a Savage Steamboat match. I don't see an undercard match that could reach out there and steal the show because, sorry, Obafemi and Brock Lesnar ain't lasting more than 10 minutes. There's no way.
so I said I was gonna give you a couple questions, not too many,
Yeah.
before we could jump to that card. So I was talking about how we're not hyped for this WrestleMania at all. Name me at least what was the last at least three manias you were super super hyped for? Like you couldn't sleep at night. It felt like Christmas. Like, oh, I'm so pumped because not everyone's gonna be like that. And In your mind, give me at least the last 3 Manias you were super hyped for.
Well, obviously 17. I was stoked for that card. I really was. I mean, when you had TLC and you had Rock Hogan and or Rock Austin, I'm sorry. You had all the stuff you had going on there. Um, it was really one that I just could not get away from. I really wanted to see that one. I was really excited, and this is going to sound kind of weird, but I was excited about 19. I wanted to see Angle Brock Lesnar for the championship. That was one that I know the card itself wasn't that great, but that main event had me. I don't know about you, but that main event had me. And if the main event gets you, then everything else kind of falls into place. And then probably the third one, and I just got to remember what number it was, and I will here in just a second. But it was the night that Benoit and Eddie won their
Eddie?
titles.
20.
Yeah, the 20. So that was the same one. Why was I thinking that was a different one than the Lesnar?
Because they're trying to change history because they don't want people to remember how the night ended because
No,
of one
no, no, no,
particular
no, no.
wrestler.
That was 19. Because 20
Not,
was the triple threat with Benoit and Michaels and Triple H.
yeah, 19 ended with Brock and Kurt.
Right. The Brock
20.
Kurt match is the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was 19. That was
Right. But
2003.
then the night that was Benoit and Eddie winning their titles.
That was 20. Eddie retained his title against Kurt.
That's right, because of the triple threat. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
When
I'm
Benoit
getting my
won,
numbers mixed up.
Eddie came out and congratulated him, and a beautiful WrestleMania moment taken away from us, which...
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic for another day, but... I haven't been super stoked for a WrestleMania in a lot of years.
The last one for me probably was 40, because it's like we knew Cody was going to finish the story and whatnot, and I just wanted to see how that match played out. I mean, there were a couple other matches on that, but that was the last recent one for me. It was like last year that was mid-average, but I wasn't like, oh my God, it's WrestleMania. No, 40 was the last super hype one for me. Then before 40, I'll say 30. 30 was actually the last Mania I went to. I was super, super, super hyped for because it was the first one in New Orleans. 34, it was like, oh, we're back in New Orleans, but I was just freezing cold that day. 38, it was like, all right, I had a long weekend. I said, well, let's see what I can do for 2 nights. And I was already going to my 3rd wrestling show in 3 days. That when I went to 38, like night 1 was my 3rd show of day 2 of being out there for 3 days. But 30 was my another second one I was hyped for. A third, probably 28, because it was Rock Cena. Once, quote unquote, once in a lifetime. But then we got the rubber match a year later. So yeah, but all them other ones you named, oh yeah, like from the Attitude Era to the start of the Ruthless Aggression Era, like from 17 to at least 22, I was super hyped. Or 23, I was super hyped for WrestleMania. But now times have changed. WrestleMania moments, I mean, there's countless ones. But what was the moment? Like, everyone else say the body slam heard around the world or Cody finishing the story, but what's 1 or even 2 WrestleMania moments that you will say that was the greatest thing ever shown, and it lives rent-free in your head? It's like your go-to WrestleMania moment.
Well, probably the biggest, one of the biggest ones for me was Bret Austin at 13. Because of the buildup, because of how people forget how great that match was. Forget the fact that the thing made Stone Cold. that match was spectacular. Um, and of course, Stone Cold never submits, he passes out. Um, so I mean that one there is like right at the top for me. I really enjoyed um and for whatever way you want to approach this, I liked the cash in at 31 from Rollins. Um, I just thought it was a perfect way for him to, in essence, put the screws to both guys. And, when you heard his music hit, you were like, uh-oh, here we go. That followed a pretty good match between Lesnar and Roman. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have that one up there, and I was the 3 year stretch of Taker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels main events. Those matches were just fantastic, and it took a while to go through the whole thing. And if you remember right, the whole thing started without a word being said.
Mhm.
Taker walks out, points at the WrestleMania sign, and it goes from there. That I was a big fan of. So I'd say those three, and the one, of course, is a collective moment. But those three would probably be mine.
You've never been to Mania before, right?
Yeah, I was in Dallas.
32 or 38 or both?
32. 32.
Uh,
I covered
uh,
38, didn't go.
I'm gonna assume. I was gonna say, what was since that was the only Mania you went to? What was the greatest moment you saw in person? Which I'm gonna have to take a wild guess. When Austin, Foley, and Shawn came out to confront the New Day, or was it something else?
Wow.
There's been,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you're probably right. Um, I was not a fan. Of course, everybody was talking about the Hell in a Cell match with Shane and Taker. It wasn't that great. Um, you had some matches in there that made you shake your head, like, why in the world was The Rock fighting Eric Rowan?
should have been Bray
Um,
at least.
you know, but I tell you, one of my favorite matches on that card, and it was kind of expected but unexpected, was the women's triple threat with
Oh yeah,
Charlotte and Sasha and Becky. That was
that
really
was
good.
that could be a top, and that was a big top moment too because it's like they shine, and hell, I would have been fine with that closing out the show despite Charlotte winning because I was all in on Charlotte. I was waiting for you to
Right.
say AJ Styles and Jericho.
I loved AJ. I mean, everybody know. I mean, look behind me for crying out loud. Um, Everybody knows I'm an AJ guy, but that AJ Jericho match just wasn't that great. It wasn't an AJ match. Does that make any sense?
Exactly.
It it wasn't like if you saw AJ Samoa Joe, or if you saw AJ and even AJ and Lesnar, or if you saw AJ and Christopher Daniels or something like that. No. And you would have figured AJ and Jericho, because this was 20 years ago, um, almost 20 years ago, what, 15 years ago? AJ and Jericho should have been a really good match, and it just seemed flat. Um, but boy, I can tell you one thing: when his music hit for AJ, that place went nuts.
Oh, I
That I can
bet.
definitely tell you.
So I think the greatest WrestleMania moment I witnessed at home that can outtop everything, can outtop the slam heard from around the world or Austin passing out. I think it was the heist of the century. That might have been the greatest moment I watched at home and wasn't there for. Like that just was like came out of nowhere. Planted this like perfect ending to a boring main event. Now, in person, I'm gonna run these quick. Three of the greatest moments I've witnessed in person. The start of WrestleMania 30 with Hogan screwing up the name Silverdome, then have Austin and Rock call an audible to make a moment that wasn't planned.
Yeah.
That was special. That was bigger than the streak breaking, which I'm gonna get to in a bit. Daniel Bryan overcoming the Authority. So starting the show and ending the show were two amazing moments in one. And then, of course, being there for Stone Cold Steve Austin's one last match in Texas in the main event of WrestleMania against Kevin Owens. And this wasn't no Rock Eric Rowan 6-second thing. They went 20 whole minutes after having a 20-minute segment of the Kevin Owens show. And Austin did it in T-shirt and shorts. Didn't have to wear the black trunks, the black vest. He still had the braces on. Magic. Like, I was like, this is the greatest shit I've ever seen with Austin. And in his case scenario, with his bad neck and bad knees, he's still kicking ass. So what a way to end that. But you want to talk moments? I mean, I guess they just gave ESPN the full access to the library and like, here, pick 5 of your greatest WrestleMania moments and let narrow it down. Don't do a top 10, do a top 5. I'm not going to shit talk the list, but man, I can make 5 better moments than this. And no disrespect to all of them, but they did a SportsCenter top 5 WrestleMania moments instead of 10, because you know how they usually close out SportsCenter with top 10. So number five. Oh shit! I'm trying to remember if that got these orders right. I know I should have wrote this shit down.
I was gonna say I think I have the list pulled up here.
So number 1 was the streak ending. I know that they put that at number 1. Number 2 was the body slam from WrestleMania 3. Number 3 was the Austin Brett submission match at WrestleMania 13. That was number 3. 4 was Rock Hogan at WrestleMania 18. Number 5, oh my God, I can't remember what number 5 was.
Shawn and Flair at 24.
Oh, yeah, that when he ended Flair's career. Yeah, I went from 1 to 5 instead of 5 to 1. Like, not hating on those moments; those are iconic. But if I were to leave at least 2 up there, I would leave Austin Brett, and I would leave the body slam. Everything else can get taken off the list. Number 1, I'd have probably put the heist of the century. I'm shocked they didn't put Cody finishing the story at number 1. You gotta put what was another shocking moment? Like could have said, like, and I'm talking about like jaw dropping, like not no Lawrence Taylor beating Bam Bam or
Rollins cashing in was a jaw dropper to me.
That should have been number 1. Mike Tyson punching Shawn Michaels. That should have been another one.
Yeah, I mean there was. I'm with you. I was, but to be honest, I wasn't that hyped. I was more hyped up for Hogan Warrior than I was for Hogan Andre.
Oh, Macho and Miss Elizabeth reuniting at WrestleMania 7. That should have been up there. That was another beautiful moment. Probably Brett winning the title. Brett winning the title
shows you. Yeah, that shows you the people that are putting this stuff together aren't people that follow this stuff and know this stuff and all that kind of deal. They're just not.
Anyhow, okay, I got one thing one thing TNA, and one, but sneak in 2 things AEW. Which one do you want to hear first?
TNA.
TNA is bringing back Lockdown as a pay-per-view. The All Steel Cage pay-per-view. It's coming to Chicago August 23rd. Were you a fan of the All Steel Cage pay-per-view and their version of War Games, Lethal Lockdown, with minus the extra ring? Like, some people not big on Lockdown, but I love it. Like, I'm excited that it's coming back, and now they got 5 pay-per-views instead of 4. But what was your reaction when they dropped that bombshell?
Yeah, I wasn't against Lockdown. If you noticed when they did it previously, and we'll see how they do it this time, all the matches made sense. You know, it was one of those things where you didn't want to see the opponents being able to run, that kind of deal. And this is going to be one of those that if they put it together right, it should fit together well. You put something together with where the system gets stuck in there with people that they can't run from, or that Tasha Steeles gets into a singles match that she can't run from. I want to say Jada Parker. I know that's not right. Oh, what is her name? I'll think of the girl's name in a second. But you got that. This whole Tessa Blanchard thing. You know, um, yeah, if you put it together right and make it where it's matches to keep people in that they can't run away, then yeah. If it's just matches to have matches in a cage, then no. Hopefully, Carlos Silva, the biggest redeeming quality to me with TNA, and when TNA does stuff that makes sense, is having Tommy Dreamer backstage. Because Tommy Dreamer is a huge believer in does it make sense. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for it.
No, me too. You're probably thinking of like either Rosemary, Alley, or I can't pronounce her name. The one that beat Elena Black at Sacrifice, Shade, something like that.
No, this gal's name starts with J, and I cannot think of her name.
I don't. I forgot, but yeah, I'm excited. That's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I mean, I know who some of the most of these new people are, but like either I've watched them in GCW or I've watched them in Ring of Honor or even AEW. But it's like some of them are changing their names, so it's like I'm trying to remember the new names. But I mean, they're kind of going back to old routines. Like EC3's back, which is I guess it's cool and all that. But AEW, I mean, I don't really watch it because I don't like their plans where I got to pay an extra $40-$50 to watch the pay-per-views instead of it coming with your subscriptions like WWE and TNA and UFC. But Darby Allin winning the AEW World Championship Wednesday night in his hometown against MJF. I didn't watch the match. I caught the highlights on X and 4 coffin drops, and he should have just pinned him there.
You saw the match.
I didn't get the finisher. Like, I'd have just pinned him after the 4th coffin drop. But holy shit, about time they put the belt on him. And Sting, I thought he had blonde hair at first. No, he's just getting old. That's white hair on Sting. But holy shit. But what's your take on
Sting's 64? Sting's 64 first. But the other part, the background behind this thing, they had a match in the Indies a bunch of years ago where MJF kicked him in the nuts and beat him with a side headlock takeover and pinned him, which is where this whole thing came from for that. It went over the head of 95% of the people that were 99% of the people that were watching this thing whenever Darby said he was going to beat him with a headlock, with a side headlock takeover. If you saw the 4 coffin drops, you pretty much saw the whole match. MJF kicked Darby in the nuts. Darby kicked MJF in the nuts. He did the 4 coffin drops. He did the headlock takeover. End of match. I mean, it did not take 5 minutes. Okay. I get Darby's an original. I get they were in his hometown. I get all the stuff he's done for the company and that kind of stuff. But it would have been like putting the WWE title on the Brooklyn Brawler. And I hate to put it that way, to put Darby Allin in the same category, but Darby Allin, we've talked previously about people that are convincing that they could whoop you. There is nothing about Darby Allin that makes you think he could whoop anybody, let alone a guy like MJF. So there's no believability in this. Do I like the fact that he got it? Sure. For his sake, sure. I just think it's going to be. Here's what I could see happening. to be perfectly honest. He's going to be a transitional champion. MJF is going to protest next week on Wednesday, require his rematch, and he's going to get the title back next week.
Well, I was gonna say he'll probably be a transitional champion, but I figured he might win it back at Double or Nothing because it's in New York. He's like, oh, you won the title in your hometown. I'm gonna do it in mine at Double or Nothing. We'll see.
I don't know that Darby keeps it that long. I really don't.
And I mean, I'm shocked he's not in a wheelchair by now. He's only in his late 20s, and he's like today's Mick Foley, like taking these severe bumps and everything. Like, God, I'd be in the damn wheelchair with the bumps he's taking.
And I think the belt weighs more than he does.
Speaking of, okay, this has always been a debatable question. This is one last thing before we get to predictions. You know, every company has their own flagship, like their own WrestleMania. Like WCW back in the day had Starrcade. ECW, I think, was November to Remember, or I digress. TNA's Bound for Glory. New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom. Ring of Honor's was Super Card of Honor. AEW, it always gets debated on two shows. Either Double or Nothing or All In.
Right.
I think I figured it out, and I'm going to rest my case after I give me your take, but which one do you believe is their WrestleMania? I think I know what the answer is, but what you think? Is it
I think it's All In.
I think so too, but
because they put a whole ton more into it. They put a whole ton more into the build up for it, the actual event itself, everything around it. So, you know, that's where I would have it. I mean, I think there's, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the WrestleMania Royal Rumble type discussion because we know with WWE that's number one and number two. All In's number one, Double or Nothing's number two.
So this is how I say it's All In, and I'm gonna kind of throw a history lesson, and you'll agree with. So when AEW was founded in 2019, the first show they dropped was Double or Nothing, and it was on pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. All In was just a house show produced by the Bullet Club that was available on pay-per-view. But then at that time, damn near everyone that fought on that card was AEW Ring of Honor, so it was all Tony Khan shit. All In is out of them two, All In was the only one that ever took place at stadiums. Double or Nothing's about to do it for the first time, even though it's a tennis stadium. It ain't no soccer, football, baseball. All In's done Wembley twice, third time this year. Last year they were at Globe Life. But and plus it goes, All In sounds more like a flagship show than Double or Nothing. Look at WWE, for example. WrestleMania is their flagship show, but remember, the first two WrestleManias were only on closed circuit television. They didn't get on pay-per-view till WrestleMania 3. And WWE's very first pay-per-view they produced was called The Main Event 6 months later in October of 1985. And that was just a one-and-done pay-per-view, a one-hit wonder, just to get them on pay-per-view. And look at that comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not how you start, it's how you deliver.
Right. And if you remember correctly, All In was, it was in Chicago, a suburb of Chicago. And, it was one that they, right after they were trying to get 10,000 tickets sold in New York, and they did. And then they did this one. So, yeah, I'm with you. I agree it's All In, with Double or Nothing being their Royal Rumble as far as panache.
While I get this card ready, I just saw on social media, Sandman retired at one of them indie shows in Vegas. And this kid, he must be I thought he was still like 14 or something. Brody Lee's son is now a wrestler, and he had a wrestling match somewhere in Vegas, and he hit the prettiest crossroads I've ever seen. And I'm like, this kid's already 18. He's an adult. I thought he was probably still in high school. And he looks fantastic. I know he's going to make his daddy proud watching above.
Well, and he's been doing a lot of work in the dungeon. Um, he's done a lot of work with TJ and Maddie,
Awesome.
and he's done a lot of work with Cody. Um, so he's working with people that can teach him. Um, Someone else that I know he's been working a lot with that I think is really good that he's working with is Jericho. Um, despite all the time that Jericho was away and all that, he was still working with this kid. So, I mean, he's learning from a lot of the best. Because despite the fact that TJ Wilson, Natty's husband, um, is no longer wrestling or hasn't wrestled in a long time, he has sure taught a lot of talent over the course of the last 15 years.
Awesome. All right, here we go. Start with night one, or I like to call the Twisted Metal graphics. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. So, as you know, they're doing something new. First hour is going to be live for free with 2 matches. This one will be on ESPN2, courtesy of Stanley Cup playoffs. But night 2, the first hour, will be on ESPN in general. But same shit. We'll start with the 6-man tag. We got LA Knight and the Usos taking on the Visions, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and I Show Speed.
Where do I start with this one? I Show Speed is going to get. He has no business being there in the first place. But, I mean, this is another one of those thrown together matches simply because of injuries. Um, the Usos and LA Knight are going to win this thing. Probably going to pin I Show Speed. Probably hit him with the all day, or
The 1D.
well, the all day, the 3D, the 1D, whatever we're calling it now. Hit him with that, and the Usos and LA Knight go over.
It would be so embarrassing if they lost this match compared to a year ago. Jey Uso won the world title in that stadium, and a year later, he's opening up the show in the 6-man tag. It would be embarrassing for LA Knight if he got pinned, and all the LA Knight diehards are really going to be pissed on the internet if I Show Speed scored the pin on LA Knight for that team. But just because there's a celebrity in the match, not every celebrity wins at WrestleMania. If you're lucky. I mean, yeah, Mr. T, Lawrence Taylor, Marina Menounos, Johnny Knoxville, list of other celebrities I've won. But all the NFL football players in WrestleMania 2, Colin Jost, Michael Che, they didn't win their matches. Not every celebrity wins. So just to save the fans from being more pissed off, it's best if the Usos and LA Knight win this match. And I think LA Knight pins I Show Speed, hits him with blood force trauma, and scores the pin. So, yeah. They better win or the internet's really going to be pissed off.
Right.
Then you got Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, unsanctioned. This can go either way, but the way last night popped in with Jacob Fatu, I don't know.
I don't know either, and I don't understand how this one is on the free card as well. This is part of the confusion of this whole thing that they're doing. I think because of the fact that Jacob's been getting the snot kicked out of him pretty much every week for the last several weeks, except for last night. I think we're going to see Jacob win this thing. But at the same time, I think it's going to be a knockdown drag out. I wish this was on the main card because it could be a 30-40 minute match. That's going to probably go 15 because of it being on this early hour.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, to be honest, I feel like with everything that's been going on with Drew, making him a transitional champion and whatnot, pulling him out the main event spot, he has to win this match. He can't afford to lose this one. Jacob Fatu can afford losing this one. Hell, they both won last year at WrestleMania. They both had wins, so somebody's going to win 2 years in a row. I mean, it's got to be Drew McIntyre. I mean, a lot of people are riding on Jacob Fatu, but I'm going to pull an upset. I wouldn't call it an upset, but I'm going with Drew McIntyre to beat Jacob Fatu.
Gotcha.
Then we get the 4-way for the women's tag team championships, which, okay, so one team, you got the champs, the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and the Bella Twins, but supposedly Nikki's hurt, may not be able to be cleared to compete. Rumors that Paige was supposed to come back, she re-signed with WWE and supposed to fill the void. I don't know, because with that video package on SmackDown last night, they're making it hype that the Bellas are going to team up unless they're hiding it and they're going to spoil it at the end, saying, oh, she can't compete. I don't know, but what you think? I mean, what you seeing, what you believe in, who's going to win this match?
Well, I just think this is going to end up being the kickoff to a feud between Bayley and Valkyria, which, okay. But I see the champs retaining. I do. I think that they're looking to give Nia and Lash Legend a big push. And, they can have really good matches with Alexa and Charlotte and, some of the other ladies in the I'd like to see them in the Kabuki Warriors, to be honest. I think the champs retain.
Wow, because I'm also picking the champs to retain because, well, before the shit about Nikki Bella, I was going to say anybody but the Bella Twins because I feel like even if she don't compete and let's say Paige fills the void, they're not going to win because the whole purpose is to try and get the twin sisters to be tag champs somewhere down the road. But if she's really injured and gets replaced, they're definitely not winning. Bayley and Lyra could potentially win. Charlotte and Alexa could potentially win. They have, especially Alexa and Charlotte, I know a lot of people might ride on them. Some are picking Bayley and Lyra, but of all the prediction shows I've seen, I feel like you and I are the only ones that are picking Nia and Lash to retain. I enjoy them as a tag team. They Lash Legend getting called up and putting her with Nia, it was the smartest move that Triple H put. They make a hell of a team. So that's why I'm picking them to retain as well.
Gotcha.
Then we get a match I literally have no interest in. I'm just waiting for this feud to be over with. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Does AJ make it another victory, or do they end this with Becky getting the rubber match and finally throwing this out the window?
I would be I would be surprised if Becky doesn't win. And I think honestly, I think AJ being in the ring is more of a elongated one-off than anything else. It was to get to this match. Becky beats AJ. AJ goes off into the sunset. I could be wrong, but I think Becky wins and AJ's gone after this.
Supposedly AJ Lee signed a 3-year contract with WWE, but she's going to be a part-timer. So we might, after Mania, we probably won't see her again until probably SummerSlam or something, or if they go back to Chicago. But I felt like they should have role reversed this. They should have had Becky beat her at Elimination Chamber, then do this at Mania where she would have won the title, but do like an I Quit match or something or submission. But they didn't do this shit right, and it's obvious. You might as well put it back on Becky if you're making AJ a part-timer and she's going to disappear for a few months. It makes sense, but it would not make sense if she would pull a Jinder Mahal and beat her 3-4 straight times and no closure of this rivalry. You just have her completely sweep the man. So, but I got Becky winning back the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Then we get, like you said, involving injury with no build-up, just to fill the card for these two. Seth Rollins versus Gunther.
This is one that if it had a story behind it, this could be the match of the whole card. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna go Gunther because I realize this may be flawed logic. He's gonna go back to Heyman and say, I told you you owe me big. Now I want Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
And build up to Lesnar and Gunther at SummerSlam.
Plus, Gunther hasn't won a WrestleMania match in 3 years. His last win was the triple threat at 39 against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. He lost the Intercontinental title to Sammy at 40. Last year, he lost the world title to Jey Uso. Seth had his big moment last year, lining with Paul Heyman, winning in the main event, the triple threat. He can afford this loss. And Gunther's putting his little retirement tour on hold to fill this void, fighting Seth, since we were supposed to get Seth and Braun Breaker. But do you think Braun Breaker shows up and costs Seth this match? Because, I got Gunther winning, too.
Well, and that's a possibility. I have heard absolutely nothing about Braun Breaker's status. So, possibility. That is a possibility.
Then you got the Women's World Championship, Stephanie Vakir versus Liv Morgan.
You talked about not caring about AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. I really don't care about this one. I think Liv probably wins it. Maybe that starts something between her and Roxanne. But I don't know. It's been a decent rivalry, but give me Liv to win this thing.
To be honest with you, with what happened last week, where she bumped Roxanne and got her head run to the TV, and she had that big old knot on her forehead. Supposedly, she's on concussion protocol, and we almost got this match canceled. So I believe, if I can be serious for a minute, quote Lance Storm, this might be I'm not going to say horrific. This might be a bullshit squash match. A match that was supposed to be good, but due to concussion protocol, it might just be dog shit just to keep her safe and protected. This is probably going to be like a 3-4 minute match, and Stephanie's going to retain. And when Liv is fully healthy and no longer on protocol, because I think it's 6 weeks you're under concussion protocol, they'll probably give her a rubber match at Backlash and she'll win it back there. And it's Stephanie's WrestleMania debut, but it wouldn't hurt her if she lost it. But with Liv's condition, I think Stephanie retains.
Well, and that's a valid point. They're kept under observation for several weeks, but they can still wrestle after 14 days. So,
plus, you never know. Roxanne might even cost her because everybody wants the Judgment Day
or Raquel, for that matter.
Or Raquel, yeah. And then the main event of night one, which people are 50-50 about it now because of one particular guy, but Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the undisputed WWE Championship. Yes, we'll see Pat McAfee. Possibly we'll see Jelly Roll. But what happens here? Does Cody piss people off and retain, or does Randy get title number 15 and people will be happy about it or be pissed with McAfee involved?
Well, I think people are going to be pissed that McAfee's involved, but if there's any justice in the world, that some way Jelly Roll gets involved and gets McAfee out of there. I think Randy wins. There's just so many pieces to this thing that fits for Orton to win it. Randy wins, and then Cody loses his mind and kind of turns. I say kind of turns because it's tough for him to fully turn.
Randy Orton wins, but I feel like we're going to have a bullshit ending that might be as worse as Travis Scott helping Cena win title 17. McAfee's going to probably low blow Cody, or Orton's going to basically sell his soul to win the title 15. He might not do it on his own. McAfee is going to eventually get involved. and good match with a bullshit ending, I believe. But Orton wins the match and the title.
Gotcha.
And then we look at the card for night 2 that I like to call with the Tron graphics. First hour. It's going to start with 2 meaty men slapping meat. Brock Lesnar, Obafemi. I swear to God, do not fuck this up. This might be the only match I'm hyped for outside the main event on night 2, but I want to see if they tear the house down and on live television for free. But we've stated our case about this, so you first.
If Obafemi doesn't win this thing, there is something drastically wrong. He either wins it in a absolute squash, which I doubt, or he wins it in about a 5-7 minute match. These guys ain't going 30. Sorry, folks. But he'll win it in a 5 or 7 minute match. Respect will be shown, kind of passing of the torch. And then we're going to see Gunther and Lesnar later on.
The way they're pushing Oba, they'd be stupid if they didn't pull the trigger on him. But
yeah,
Obafemi has to win. He's he's probably as over as like LA Knight was a couple years back, or I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of another Trick Williams right now.
I've made the comparison, and people look at me like I've lost my mind. Remember when Ahmed Johnson first came in?
Mm-hmm.
He was over like Rover, no question about it. They were talking about putting the title on him. And then his head got bigger than his ability, and he put on about 40 pounds, and completely his career went off a cliff at that point. I pray that it's not what happens with Oba down the road, but because Femi could be a world champion at some point. But you know, the kind of reaction he's getting is the kind of reaction that Ahmed got. And he's got a similar build to what Ahmed Johnson had when he first came in.
A lot of people believe they're going to give him the Brock Lesnar treatment in his rookie year. Like after this, I'm hearing people expect, if they're still doing it, that he'll win King of the Ring in the summer and go to SummerSlam and be WWE or world champion within the next 4 to 5 months.
You can see that.
I would love that. Then we got the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, when you got them two together at WrestleMania, magic is going to happen. Look at Shawn and Razor, for example. So you got Penta versus Dragon Lee, Rusev, Rey Mysterio, JD McDonough, and Javon Evans.
See, to me, it comes down to two. To me, it comes down to Penta and Javon Evans. As big of a rocket as they've got on Javon right now, I think I'm going to go with him to win the title. That could lead to some really, really good matches between him and Penta. But give me Javon Evans to win this thing.
I'm going to tell you what I really want, what I wouldn't mind happening, but what's probably going to happen. What I want Penta to retain. Penta has been so over, and it took him a year to finally put a belt on him. I cannot see him being a transitional champion with how over he is on Raw and how fitting he is with the crowd, especially with kids. He's like a modern Rey Mysterio now today. What I wouldn't mind is Javon Evans. Javon Evans, I absolutely love this kid. Yes, this is his first WrestleMania, but he's going to have a lot more manias. He's only, 21, 22 years old? Oh, he's got another 10. He's got another 10, 15 WrestleManias in the future. This loss wouldn't hurt him at all. It'll just boost him to get even better than he already is. So if he wins, I'm going to applaud him. I'm going to be happy for him. But what I think might happen is Ray's eventually going to be retiring soon. He's probably going to give him one last WrestleMania victory or one last moment before, if not Gunther, probably his son Dominic retires him at AAA in a mass versus career or mass versus title, whatever they do in AAA at Triple Mania when we get to the summer of that. But I'm going to stick with Penta retaining.
Gotcha.
Then we get the United States Championship, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams.
You can see the beginnings of Sammy turning, which is okay. I think Trick Williams, wins this thing. Really forces Sammy to have the meltdown. And I don't know, somehow, some way, KO down the road gets involved with this thing with his buddy Sammy, trying to get him back on track. But I think Trick wins this thing pretty handily, actually.
I absolutely cannot stand Sami Zayn. That's all I'm going to say. Trick better win this match. He is so over on. He's the hottest thing on SmackDown outside of like a Cody or a Randy Orton. Another, he's like today's Booker T, walking with, except the lemon pepper steps, the white meat coat, fur coat. I think Lil Yachty makes a pop up. I think he was tricking us all, but with what I saw last night, the gingerbread shit. Oh my god, I wanted to turn SmackDown off. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Despite whatever Sammy does, from being the quote unquote underdog for years to now being this crybaby whining about shit like, oh, I'm not happy I'm going into WrestleMania as the US champ. Like, are they trying to build him to win it all if quote unquote they still do it in Saudi? Because I really don't care. I'm not even on board with it, but I cannot stand Sami Zayn, especially now that he's playing a titty baby gimmick. I don't know what's worse, that or the Johnny Gargano planking.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
Then we get Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship.
All right. Something's going to go haywire with the baddies, and Cargill's going to win this thing, having Rhea continue to chase. She'll get the title off of Jade at some point, but I don't think she gets it off of her tomorrow night.
Well, I think I know she's been involved in the title picture since she's got there, except for in 2022. That was the only time she was not in the women's title picture. Anytime she's in the title picture, if she's the challenger, if it's one-on-one, she always won. Like 39 5-star match with Charlotte. There was 30. The couple years before that, 37 she won against Asuka. Now, yeah, she lost last year, but it was a triple threat. I feel like when she's one-on-one, she's got this luck. Despite if the baddies get involved, I think she wins another women's title in a singles match at WrestleMania. I think they brought her on SmackDown for a reason, to help build the women's division on that side, because quote, supposedly Jade's title reign right now is atrocious. People were also shit-talking when Tiffany Stratton was women's champion. That was atrocious. I think that's why they brought her to SmackDown, and she's going to bring some revenue into the women's division as their women's champion. So, and I'm going with Rhea Ripley to win.
Gotcha.
Then we get Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Oh, I'm sorry, the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. I still wish this would have been a surprise, but I get it. But it's one-on-one, no AAA mega title on the line. This is just a fight on behalf of the title.
And you don't break out the Demon character without Finn going over. So I have no question Finn destroys Dominic in this.
I don't even know how the entrance is going to play whenever the stadium's not going to get dark, because it's going to be still broad daylight in Vegas. I don't know how the entrance is going to play off.
Right.
But I love how they were making fun of, because he ain't been the Demon since 23. The last time we saw the Demon was at WrestleMania 39. I'm laughing at the memes where they're like, the Demon Finn Balor under TKO, like his whole body's painted, but you got like Slim Jim painted on him, DoorDash painted on him, Snickers, Hulu, all that shit, Dodge Ram.
Right.
Like all the corporate sponsors on his body. Like, it was funny. because, you see that
Yeah.
everywhere. I don't mind it on the canvas, but I cannot stand the tables, the ladders, chairs, weapons having freaking corporate sponsors on them. It's so corny and stupid, but they're getting paid to do that. But no, Demon, the only way Dominic probably would have won this match is if the AAA title was on the line. But no, and the Demon now, I'm going with Finn Balor.
Yep.
And then you got the main event, which kind of 50-50. It's a toss-up. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got a lot of different scenarios with this, Can Punk hold up? Is The Rock going to get involved? Yada, yada, yada. I mean, this is probably the biggest 50-50 out there for WrestleMania. I'm going to say Punk retains, but would I be surprised if Roman won it? No. But I'm going to go with Punk.
Roman ain't held a world title in 2 years. I doubt they're going to let him go any longer without putting the strap back on him. And the last time he won the Rumble and main event in Mania, the Heist of the Century happened. He never won the title. I doubt they're going to let that happen twice. Unless he ties Austin's record and wins a third Rumble and then gets the title. And supposedly Punk's supposed to take time off with AJ. I mean, I could digress. It'd be best if no one gets involved, and we don't need the Usos getting involved or the Bloodline or any. I mean,
right?
Unless you're trying to reveal someone new. I don't think The Rock. We haven't seen The Rock since last year's WrestleMania, or not since last year's WrestleMania. Last year's Elimination Chamber. Rock's somewhere in Hollywood promoting his live Moana film or something, or whatever else he got coming up. But no, Roman, it's time to put it back on him, but he ain't going to have no 4-year reign like he had in his last one. He might no less than 1 year, no more than 2 years, I believe. And if Roman wins the title, I will most likely buy another belt to put right here. Maybe that one right there, or I might go old school and get the big gold belt, which that'd be up your alleyway.
There you go.
Because I need some more belts. So somewhere down the road, you're going to see maybe at least 2 more belts right next to these two. So be on the lookout for that. That's if Roman wins the title, which he most likely will. But, well, we hit the finish line. We kept it right at an hour. I know you got another big show ahead of you. I got a big night ahead of me to plan that's not WrestleMania related. So this was fun. And till next live stream, let them know where they can find you on social media.
On Twitter, it's Big Rich 8371. On Facebook, just my name, Rich Richardson. Got a lot happening. Monday, we got our Fans in the Diamond baseball talk show. Tuesday, open mic, and then Wednesday, I'm actually recording an interview that we're going to run. It's a special edition of Steel City Sports Talk with myself and Adam, where we're going to be previewing the Rangers and Pirates series with their pre and post game host, Jared Sandler. So that's the interview that I'm going to be doing in about 25 minutes.
Awesome. I'm on X at Dirty South ENT _. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And any other time you can catch me on Monday nights, Fans of the Diamond. Tuesdays on open mic. And then my show On the Go, where I talk all things I-10 across Houston and New Orleans. Wednesday nights at 9, unless subject changes. And then you get this whenever we're available. No actual schedule for this one. But
right.
Who knows when the next live stream will be? We might do one talking WrestleMania. We might have a guest on. We might have time. You never know. It's whenever we available. And after this, it'll be a while. It'll be like a couple weeks before we have another pay-per-view or PLE or anything like that. So like this is the last one for like at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes, sir. But it's been great, man. I appreciate you having me on this thing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, and thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoy WrestleMania. Hopefully it ain't too crappy where we're going to talk bad about it either way. But y'all enjoy yourselves, and we'll catch y'all next time.
See you later.